Coming to the next one, the following parts are composed in the forebrain. First one is thalamus, base of the brain, thalamus, and hypothalamus, and pituitary gland, limbic system. It consists of limbic lobe, limbic system. I'll explain what is the role of the limbic system as well, so it would be easy for you to follow. And cerebrum. So what are the each part signifies? Let's see. First one we'll talk about thalamus. So thalamus is anterior to the midbrain. So this is midbrain, this is anterior position. So anterior to the midbrain. So if you see what its function, excuse me. So its functions are integrates different sensory information. It is probably involved in even determining what kind of a sensory input is actually coming into the brain also. So it would be doing these functions. And even visual, auditory, and sensory somatosensory informations would be sent to the appropriate regions of the cerebral cortex to the thalamus. And what is the hypothalamus for that matter? So hypothalamus, which is located here, hypothalamus, lies underneath the thalamus. So thalamus, hypothalamus, under the thalamus. So what it actually does, it manages the basic body functions, and it is very, very important, hypothalamus. Usually pituitary gland says a master gland, but even that master gland is controlled by the hormones and other neuronal connections of hypothalamus. So here, what it does, so it controls autonomic functions such as body temperature. So body temperature is the regulation of body temperature. We are regulators. See, write this term so that it would be keep repeating in the ecological topics as well. If at all, we need to see the behavior of why migration is taking place, etc. But remember that we are regulators. It means we bring about homeostasis, means balance or equilibrium in the body by releasing or creating energy. So how is that possible? Because we are regulators, the total internal temperature would be maintained. It's at 37 degrees. So 1 degree less or minus would cause us fever, chills and fever. So that's what it is controlled by the hypothalamus. Remember the functions. And even it drives certain appetites such as thirst, hunger, sexual desire, and other behaviors as well. So that's what I'm hypothalamus. So here you can see that the limbic lobe is there. The limbic lobe is there, right? So it actually sets certain emotional responses in the limbic system with the help of limbic system. So even it actually integrates with the endocrine system by secretion of peptide hormones. So as I told that certain hormones will be released by the hypothalamus like FSH, FH, and those are different ADH, oxytocin. So these are all hormones released and which actually controls the very important functions in the body, for example, reproduction or urine formation, etc. So while we are talking about endocrine system, then I will explain about what are the parts, hypothalamus parts and pituitary hormones, hypothalamus hormones, and how they actually impact our body in males and females. I will be discussing. So it would even produce the antidiuretic hormone ADH and oxytocin, which are responsible for which releases into the posterior pituitary and responsible for regulation of urine formation, etc. So this is about hypothalamus, and let's see what is the limbic lobe does. So limbic lobe does a major function which contains structures surrounded the brain. So these structures are surrounding the brain stem, for that matter, brain stem. You can see this is brain stem. It would be like a cover, limbic system. So we are viewing only half of the, if you see this as a brain, you see this is as a brain, we are trying to understand one half of it. And it contains limbic systems involved in motivation, emotion, and memory. Actually, for example, if a person met with accident and the limbic lobe get damages, what happens is the motivation and emotional memory would be lost for that particular person, especially when amygdala is concerned. Within the limbic system, you got amygdala. Process the information with emotional content. So, and what kind of content is that? Nothing but understanding other people's facial expressions of emotions, and understanding descriptions of situations that which lead to emotional consequences. So these are the different functions of amygdala, and it contains even hippocampus, which involved in aspects of learning, especially spatial and visual learning, and learning relationships among objects as well, which is round, rectangle. So during early development of the child, these systems will be very active, and a learning process will be taking place. And finally, we are talking about cerebrum. So this is entirely cerebrum, which contains different parts. It is the largest part of the human brain, actually. So it processes complex mental functions. So what are they? So the structure, the cerebral cortex has many convolutions. You can see that they are convolutions. For example, so this is cloth, a soft, plain one. And if we does this, the area would be reduced, right? So how much occupancy in the space, but actually it has got more area spread if we just take the convolutions. So gyri rolls from the folding out of portion of the cortex. So here we have gyri and sulci. So valleys of the convolutions are called sulci, and rolls, foldings, we call it as gyri. So this has different lobes also. Cerebral cortex. The cerebral cortex has two hemispheres. One is right and left. So which we have occipital lobe, parietal lobe, frontal lobe. So temporal lobes. Temporal means sides. So here we have four frontal lobes. Back occipital lobe, which is responsible for the sight, and parietal lobes and temporal lobes. So what are these functions? So occipital lobes involves in process of visual information. Suddenly, I'm changing my visual input. So that is entirely received by these occipital lobes through the eyeball and optic nerve to the regions of the visual formation. And somatosensory regions are present in this various parts. Motor cortex and even auditory cortex will be there, and these are all specialized functions within the brain. So look at the diagram once again. So here in the temporal cortex, if you see, it is very important for understanding language, especially spoken language. So that is actually processed by the left frontal cortex, which is called language production centers of speaking and writing. So Wernicke's area, Broca's area, which were present in these regions. So this is about the anatomy of the brain in a brief manner. I hope this video is helpful for you. And the other parts, for example, how human brain functions, left hemisphere specializations and right hemisphere specializations, and corpus callosum functions, and what is plasticity. Those things will be discussed in the next part. Thank you.